Hey there, HackerFrogs! This workshop is the fourth and final class for Intro Python programming. During our last workshop, we learned about a few programming concepts through Python, including the following. Loops are tools that programmers use to run the same instructions multiple times. Loops can either execute a preset number of times before terminating, or iterate through all items in a list or string, in the case of for loops, or run continuously until a predetermined trigger state is achieved, in the case of while loops. Functions are defined blocks of code which can be executed multiple times in the same program. Executing a function is usually referred to as calling a function, or a function call. Python is an object-oriented programming language, and as such, all pieces of data in Python code are considered objects. All objects belong to a class, and an object's class indicates which built-in functions, methods, and variables it has. The new topics covered in this workshop include the following. Part 1. Dictionaries. Part 2. Modules and packages. Dictionaries in Python are similar to other container objects, such as lists, except that data stored in dictionaries are pairs of keys/values, as opposed to individual items. Dictionaries can be identified by a pair of curly braces, within which are pairs of keys/values, each pair separated by commas. The key and value are themselves separated by a colon. Dictionaries can also be initialized in the format above, which is easier to read. Items in a dictionary can be iterated over using a for loop, but we must use the items method, which renders the dictionary as a list with tuples as the content, which hold the key/value pairs. To add entries to an existing dictionary, simply define the dictionary's index with the name of the key, then supply the value on the other side of the equal sign, as shown above. To remove entries from a dictionary, there are two ways. The first way is to use the del keyword along with the dictionary key as the index name. The other way of removing entries from dictionaries is to use the pop dictionary method, as illustrated above. Let's practice using Python dictionaries at the following URL. In the first small section, Python dictionaries are discussed. And in the first interactive window, we see an example of an empty dictionary defined on the first line of code. And in the subsequent lines, entries to the dictionary are defined to it. Finally, there is an instruction to print out the dictionary. And we see that all of the entries have been added to it. In the second window, we see another method of defining dictionaries with an easier-to-read format. In the third window, we see that iteration over the contents of dictionaries requires the use of a dictionary object method called items. In the fourth window, the del keyword is used to delete an entry from a dictionary. In the fifth window, another method of deleting a dictionary entry, the dictionary pop method, is used. The exercise for this section instructs us to add the entry Jake and a certain number to the dictionary, as well as removing the Jill entry from the same dictionary. Please pause the video now and attempt the exercise on your own before proceeding. The first thing we should do is add the Jake entry with the following code. Then delete the Jill entry using the del keyword in the subsequent line. We click on the Run button to finish the exercise. That's the end of part 1. Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming. A module is a piece of software which serves a specific purpose. Modules typically contain a number of functions, classes, variables, and/or methods which can be imported into a Python namespace to make use of extended functionality. A namespace is a collection of defined symbolic names and their corresponding values. Every Python program exists within a namespace, and importing modules into a namespace adds objects from the module into the current namespace. How can modules enhance our Python programs? As an example, the Python random module contains a few different methods for generating random numbers or rearranging pre-existing data into random configurations. In order to use module functionality, the module must be imported into the namespace. This can be done in one of two ways, either by importing the whole module into the namespace, as shown above, or we can specify which methods or functions to import from a specific module, like the example shown here. Note that when we import specific functions from a module, we can access those functions without specifying the module name, like we did in the first example. When importing modules into Python code, we can set up a custom name for the module within the code, either to shorten the module name, change it so that it doesn't overlap with another module in our namespace, or any other reason. Writing a module requires the creation of a .py file with the same name as the name of the module we want to write. Here we've created a file named greetings.py with the code shown above. Provided we run a Python interactive console from the same directory containing the greetings.py file, we can import the file as a module and use the function defined inside that file, just like any other module. When a module is imported, all objects within the module are initialized once, but if the same objects are imported a second time, they will not be initialized again. Let's practice importing modules with Python at the following URL. Click on the Fedora 33 Linux console startup link. If for some reason that particular version of Linux isn't available, any other Linux versions should be suitable for this part of the workshop, provided that the user interface is console. We're going to use the Nano text editor to create a very simple module to illustrate a few Python module concepts. The name of the module will be greetings.py. We'll create a function inside of the file which prints out a string when called. Then we'll save the file using the Ctrl-X keyboard shortcut, pressing the Y key, then pressing the Enter key. Now we'll create the Python namespace where we'll import the greetings module. Again, we'll use Nano to create this file, and we'll name it example.py. In the file, we'll import the greetings module. Then we'll make a function call of the greeting module's greet function. We save the file like we did the previous file, Ctrl-X, Y, then Enter. Then we can run the script with the Python 3 command. And we see the script has run the greeting module's function. Next, we'll adjust the example.py file to import the greet function only. Instead of importing the whole module, we'll use the from keyword to import a specific object. So here, we're still using the greet function, but we don't need to reference the greetings module when we make the function call. We save the file, then run the script again. And the function was successfully called again. Now we'll go back into the example.py file and import the greetings module with a custom import name. We can import the greetings module with the as keyword to rename it in this namespace. This line of code imports the greetings module as the letter G. Now, whenever we use the letter G, it refers to the greetings module. This would help save time when coding, because it's a lot faster to type G as opposed to greetings. The rest of the code will execute a function call from the module. Then we save the file and exit. When the script is executed, we see that the code runs just fine when the module was assigned a custom name. Next, let's address module initialization. To illustrate this point, let's add a function call to the bottom of the greetings module. We save and exit. Then we modify the example.py file so that it imports the module, but we don't instruct it to call the greet function. We save and exit. When the script is executed, we see that the greet function was called, despite the fact that it wasn't called in example.py. That is because the greetings module included a function call in it, and due to module initialization, all of the code in the greetings module was run when imported, which includes the greet function call. This is the end of part 2. Before we finish, let's write a program which features many of the concepts we learned in this workshop. A game developer wants to write a program that keeps track of a game character's statistics, as well as a function that adjusts one of those statistics. We can write the program on one of the Learnpython.org website interactive windows. The program should have a dictionary with the following key-value pairs: name, player, money, 0, health, 100. The program should have a function named damage, which updates the dictionary's health key, decreasing it by 20 when the function is called. The damage function should be called. Then the dictionary should be printed to the console, showing the newly updated health key. We'll go over a possible solution after this, but please attempt to write the program yourself now. The following code will fulfill the program requirements. We copy the code and paste it into the web page. Then run the code. As expected, the program prints out the updated value of the dictionary's health key. Did your program produce the same results? Let's review the programming concepts we learned in this workshop. Dictionaries in Python are similar to other container objects, such as lists, except that data stored in dictionaries are pairs of keys/values, as opposed to individual items. Dictionaries are useful for recording different key/value pairs that all pertain to one subject, or one common value across a number of subjects. Modules and packages are pre-written code that can be imported into Python files to add functionality. This is the end of the HackerFrogs AfterSchool Intro to Python programming classes. But now that we know the basics, we can start learning a lot more about coding in this extremely popular programming language. Looking for more study material on this workshop's topics? See this video's description for links to supplemental documents and exercises. Until next time, HackerFrogs.